That morning, the sky was strangely clear. Large white clouds drifted lazily like soft cotton across the pale blue sky, the sunlight filtering through them and scattering shimmering streaks across the ground. The cool air after a long night made everything feel newly awakened, the whisper of the wind, the distant chirping of birds from the hills, and the laughter of children playing at the foot of the slope, all blending into a peaceful morning symphony. In the small thatched house nestled against the hillside, Tieu woke early, just as she always did. She carried little one on her back, her patched but neatly washed blouse resting gently on the child's cheek, and hugged her mother's neck, her small legs swinging lightly with each step. She rested her chin on Tieu's shoulder, eyes sparkling as she gazed at the lush green garden outside. "I love going everywhere with mommy like this," and chirped. Tieu smiled, her heart softening as though someone had gently poured warm honey into it. She brought him to the old stone well beside the house. Its moss-covered edges framed water so clear she could see the tiny pebbles resting at the bottom. Beside it sat a basin of small fish, the ones she had scooped up from the pond while cleaning the mud the night before. She reached into the cool water and lifted a wriggling fish. "Mommy, the fish. Let me see," and squealed, patting her mother's shoulder excitedly. Tieu turned so one could see. The fish flicked its tail, sending droplets flying and making the little girl burst into laughter. Her bright eyes sparkled like two lively pearls dancing in the morning sun. Tieu slowly transferred the fish from the basin to a bucket, gentle, practiced movements that reflected years of tending this little household. Sunlight shimmered on the rippling water like broken crystals. Then she carried him back into the house and laid her next to baby Long, who was sleeping soundly with rosy cheeks and lips puckered in a soft pout. Seeing the two children lying side by side made her smile, her heart settling into a rare calm. After making sure both were safe, she carried the bucket of fish toward the small pond behind the house. Dewdrops still clung to the grass, glittering like beads under the early sun. The pond rippled lightly as the wind passed across its surface. Tieu crouched and released the fish one by one. With each drop, the water made a soft plop, and circles of ripples widened outward. The fish darted away immediately, their splashes spraying cool droplets onto her sleeves. Nearby, water trickled from a bamboo pipe into the pond with soft rhythmic taps, mingling beautifully with the whispering wind, a simple, familiar song of the countryside. Chicks scurried around her feet, pecking at the moist soil. Their gentle clucks and tiny footsteps created a rustic rhythm that felt oddly comforting. Inside the house, little one woke. She turned toward baby Long, saw him sleeping peacefully, and gently patted him. In a soft voice, she whispered, "Sleep, okay? I'll watch you. Mommy is working outside." Her gentle, thoughtful nature made the tiny house feel a little brighter. Tieu returned to the yard and grabbed a basket of feed, corn, husks, and grain, scattering it across the ground. The ducks waddled over immediately, quacking loudly, their little legs shuffling as they competed for food. The grains hitting the brick floor made soft popping sounds, another familiar part of life on the hillside. After finishing the chores, she wiped her sweat and went inside to carry baby Long out to the porch. She cradled him gently, humming the same lullaby she'd sung since he was a newborn. Long opened his eyes and reached up to touch her face with his tiny hands. Seeing this, and ran over excitedly. "Mommy, I want to hold him. I can feed him, right?" Tieu laughed softly. She handed him the baby's small milk bottle. "All right. Sit here. Mommy will show you. You can feed him for me today." And sat down with surprising care, holding the bottle with her tiny hands. Baby Long began to drink, eyes half closed, while Anne smiled proudly as if she had been entrusted with the most important job in the world. Beside them, Tieu watched her children with a heart full of warmth, her gaze softer than the morning sunlight. The breeze drifted across the porch, lifting strands of her hair. The sound of rustling leaves, Anne's laughter, and the gentle suckling of baby Long blended into a tender, soothing morning melody. After feeding her brother, Anne set the bottle aside and dashed into the yard. She ran around the vegetable beds, chased a yellow butterfly, darted into the house, then out again, her bright laughter echoing through the entire garden, making it feel alive with joy. Sitting on the porch with Long in her arms, Tieu watched her daughter play. In that moment, she felt that despite all the hardships, life could still be profoundly peaceful. These small moments, these tiny, fragile slices of morning happiness, were enough to make every struggle worthwhile. And farther down the dusty road, a man named Hung was adjusting his jacket, preparing to walk up the hill to visit the three of them, carrying with him the quiet affection he had kept in his heart for so long. That peaceful morning inside Tieu's small hillside home stood in quiet contrast to another place, where Hung was beginning his day in his usual way, serious, responsible, and carrying within him a constant concern for a little family living up on the hill. The road leading down to his family's lumber mill was covered in a thin layer of mist. Days of rain had left the ground wet, and the cool air carried a hint of gloom. Hung walked toward the mill, his shoes pressing into the damp soil with a heavy crunch, a sound so different from the lively chatter of workers on regular days. Inside, the mill was unusually silent. Only the old ceiling fan hummed steadily, and the scent of freshly cut wood lingered, sharp yet comforting. No workers had come in. The constant rain had given most of them a chance to stay home and tend to their own farms. Only Tuan, the longtime manager, was present, inspecting the row of large saw machines at the far end. Seeing Hung, Tuan quickly switched off the machine and walked over. "Boss, you're here early today?" "Yeah," Hung replied. "The rain's been heavy. I came to check if any machines got affected. And to look at the lumber shipment from yesterday." Tuan nodded. "Most of the workers took the day off. I'm checking the machines because moisture can easily damage the motors." The two men walked deeper into the mill. Sunlight streamed through the high metal roofing, forming long beams of light. Fine wood dust hovered in the air, drifting slowly in the breeze. Hung glanced around before getting straight to the issue at hand. The other mills complained about shortages in plank length. "Why is ours short too? Did the supplier miscalculate again?" Tuan let out a frustrated sigh. "Exactly, boss. They measured wrong. They claimed the lumber was full length, but when delivered, each piece was about 10 centimeters short. I'm negotiating with them, they'll have to compensate." Hung was silent for a moment, then shifted to what weighed more heavily on his mind, something tied to Tieu. "And the shelter I asked you to build for her family, how's the progress?" Tuan wiped his hands on the cloth slung over his shoulder. "We've put up the frame. But engineer has been stuck handling work in the province these past few days, so he hasn't come up to finalize the design. That slowed things down. But don't worry, I'll stay on top of it. It won't be too delayed." Hung nodded slowly. Worry flickered in his eyes, partly for the project, but more for the mother and children living on that windy hillside. "Try to finish it soon," he said in a low, firm voice. "The winds up there are strong. A weak temporary shelter won't hold." Tuan understood exactly who he was speaking about. "I know. I want it done too, so she and her kids won't have to struggle through the rain." Hung said nothing, just nodded again. His eyes drifted toward the distant hills, where that little family lived quietly in the fragile peace he wanted so much to protect. A moment later, they walked over to the newly delivered lumber. Large timber logs were stacked neatly, their surfaces showing the warm yellow grain of forest wood. Each piece carried the inspection seal from forestry authorities. Tuan reported. "Since this batch is forest wood, all permits had to be verified. I checked, everything's in order. And unlike the other mills, this shipment didn't come short at all. Lucky for us." Hung placed a hand on one of the logs, feeling its weight and texture. "This batch is good. I'll meet with Tang next week to discuss further. For the other mills, check thoroughly, no repeated mistakes." "Yes, boss. I've got it under control." They walked one more round through the vast, quiet mill. Only their footsteps echoed, steady, firm, yet strangely lonely. Finally, Hung glanced at his watch. "All right, that's enough for this morning. I'll go meet Tang now." Yes, sir. Tuan bowed lightly. As Hung stepped out of the mill, the breeze carried the scent of freshly cut wood across his jacket. In the distance, the sky brightened, and white clouds drifted toward the hill where Tieu and her children lived. And he knew. In just a little while, he would find himself heading there again. Not for any official reason, but simply to see them. Even for just a moment. So that his restless heart could feel at ease. On Tieu's side, after sending her 2 little ones to the neighbor's house so they could be watched for a while, she wrapped a thin scarf around herself, picked up her basket, and headed up the hill. The morning breeze brushed through her hair, and the red dirt path still held traces of last night's rain. The trees lining the slope swayed gently in the wind, and birds occasionally darted past, leaving behind the fluttering sound of wings echoing through the vast open space. The avocado hill was a deep, lush green today, its leaves trembling with each strong gust of wind. Tieu walked up to the first cluster of trees and scanned the branches. She spotted an avocado slightly cracked, its green shade beginning to turn golden. She reached up and plucked it from the branch. She turned the fruit in her hand, peeled off the split skin, and tasted a small piece. Just one bite, and the rich, buttery aroma spread across her tongue, soft, creamy, with a faint natural sweetness. A simple taste, yet it warmed her heart, like a tiny reward from the earth for all the days she had pushed through hardship alone. When she finished eating, she wiped her hands on her sleeve and walked deeper into the grove. The larger avocado trees stretched out wide branches, their heavy clusters of fruit hanging low. She touched each one, choosing the semi-ripe ones, firm but not hard, slightly rough-skinned, their green turning lightly golden, then cut them off the branch. Cut, put it here. Her voice was soft, almost a whisper to herself, a habit formed from spending too much time working alone. Fruit by fruit, she arranged them neatly into the woven basket. Each time the avocados bumped together, they made a soft thunk, a rhythm she had grown familiar with, the quiet music of mornings spent harvesting on the hillside. Some fruits, however, were far beyond her reach. Tieu gripped the trunk and climbed onto a sturdy branch. The back of her shirt grew damp with sweat, and her calloused hands held onto the rough bark as she steadied herself. She leaned forward to reach a higher cluster. But as she shifted onto another branch, her foot slipped. Ah! She fell onto a patch of grass, her back hitting the soft earth. A sharp pain shot up her leg. Birds perched above startled and scattered into the sky. Luckily, the branch wasn't too high, and the ground below was softened from the rain, so all she got were bruises and a dull, throbbing ache in her leg. She winced, sat up, brushed the dirt off her skirt, and let out a long, shaky breath. It's okay, Colin, still need to buy milk and diapers for the kids, she whispered to herself. With that thought, she stood again, checked her basket, and climbed once more, despite the lingering pain. Her hands shook slightly, but her determination did not. She picked the last few fruits until her basket was full and round. Placing it on her shoulder, she wiped sweat from her forehead and began her descent down the hill. The sun rose higher, its rays slipping through the leaves, casting warm light onto the small, slender figure of a woman far stronger than she appeared. At the bottom of the hill, she made her way toward the market. Today, the marketplace was unusually busy, all her familiar spots were taken. Fish stalls, vegetable stalls, fruit vendors, all packed, bustling with noise. So Tieu walked farther. Across the road lay a small empty patch, no shade, no houses nearby, only sparse trees and sunlight growing hotter by the minute. She set her basket down, spread a cloth, and arranged the avocados into neat rows. The semi-ripe fruits glistened in the light, their smooth skins catching the eyes of people passing by. Just as she hoped, avocados were in high demand today. Before she even finished arranging them, customers started approaching. Are these homegrown avocados? How much per kilo? They look so good, give me these 3. Miss, can I have the small one over here? People gathered quickly, one after another. Her hands moved swiftly, weighing, wrapping, taking payments, and she kept her gentle smile even as the sun beat hard against her back. In no time, the basket emptied. Completely sold out. She let out a soft breath of relief, light and grateful. Folding her cloth and collecting her things, she dusted off her skirt. In her shirt pocket now was enough money to buy milk, diapers, and a nicer dinner for her 2 little ones tonight. On the road home, sunlight filtered through the trees, forming streaks of gold that trailed behind her. Her steps were slightly uneven, the bruise on her leg still throbbed, but she walked quickly, firmly, as if fatigue had no power over her. In her heart, there was only one thought. As long as my children have enough to eat and enough to wear, I can endure any hardship. When she arrived home, Tieu set the basket of avocados down in the kitchen corner and went inside to sort through the new clothes she had bought for her 2 children. She gathered their old clothes into a basin and carried it out to the well behind the house to wash. The sun was still gentle then, drifting clouds shifting slowly to one side of the sky, hinting that the weather was about to change. Tieu knelt beside the stone well, her hands soaking in the cold water as she scrubbed each tiny shirt. The sound of water trickling from the roof into the bamboo pipe, and the clucking of chickens and ducks around the yard, blended into the familiar melody of a quiet mountain afternoon. She was halfway through washing when... Splash! A sudden downpour crashed from the sky as if someone had emptied a bucket overhead. Large raindrops splattered across her face and hammered into the basin, sending water spilling over the rim. Startled, she hurriedly gathered the clothes and ran under the porch for shelter. She placed the basin down, threw on a thin raincoat, and rushed out again to pick up and long before it got dark. Just as she stepped out into the yard, Hung came running into the porch. A slightly drenched box of light bulbs in hand, freshly bought from town. Both stopped short under the roof, rainwater cascading behind them. Hung looked at her, brows tightening with concern. "Where are you going in this storm?" Tieu pushed her wet hair aside and caught her breath. "I have to get the kids. The rain came too suddenly, I don't want them standing out there waiting." Hung glanced at the pounding rain, then back at her. "Go quickly then. I'll stay and install the new lights. Be careful." She nodded and dashed back into the rain. The thin raincoat clung to her body, her small steps slipping slightly on the soggy dirt road. Meanwhile, Hung stood watching her disappear into the white curtain of rain, unable to hide the worry in his eyes. He set the light bulbs down, then walked briskly to the small shed beside the house. Outside, the storm intensified. Rain hammered on the tin roof, wind whipped the trees until they bent, and frightened birds scattered to their nests. Under the porch, a few little birds huddled together, trembling from the cold. Hung grabbed his toolbox, climbed onto an old wooden stool, and began installing the new bulb. A streak of lightning lit the sky, illuminating his silhouette, a quiet, steadfast man doing everything he could for that little family on the hill. After securing the light, he checked the electrical wiring, then stepped outside to adjust a bamboo pipe so that rainwater would drain properly instead of splashing mud across the yard and the well. The rain showed no sign of stopping. Dusk fell quickly, painting the sky in shades of cold purple and gray. Hung checked his watch again. 15 minutes. 30 minutes. Then over an hour passed. He stood under the porch, staring into the blurred path outside, heart pounding anxiously. "Why aren't they back yet?" he muttered, unable to calm himself. Finally, he went into the kitchen and lit the fire. He set a pot of chicken to boil, the fragrant steam slowly filling the air, mixing with the smoky scent of burning wood, warm and comforting. While waiting for it to cook, he laid out bowls and chopsticks, made a small pot of rice, then arranged a simple dinner on the table, not many dishes, but enough, warm, and prepared with all the care in his heart. Some time later, footsteps splashed through the puddles outside. Hung shot to his feet. Tieu appeared, carrying a sleeping Long, her raincoat drenched. Littleton walked beside her, soaked as well but still smiling, clutching the hem of her mother's coat. "Hung, the rain was too heavy. I had to wait for it to ease up, I was afraid the kids would get cold," she said softly, breath uneven. Without waiting for another word, Hung stepped forward and took Long gently from her arms. "Come inside. Let me hold him." That rain was dangerous. Tieu nodded, her hair dripping, her eyes tired yet relieved. Inside the house, Hung quickly tidied the table and invited her to sit. And ran in and out excitedly, her tiny wet footprints marking the floor. "And, come eat, sweetheart," Tieu called. But instead, the little girl ran to the shed and peered outside, then came rushing back, eyes sparkling. "Me oi, the moon is out." Tieu looked up, the rain had stopped. The clouds were parting, and the full moon was rising gently, glowing softly like a blessing over their small home. The three of them sat down to eat, while Hung quietly watched. A warm dinner, children's laughter, the new golden light he had just installed. And above them, a bright clear moon. That moment made Hung feel as if he had finally found the peace he had been yearning for all these years.
Kênh của mình thì sẽ lên nội dung của nhiều câu chuyện, thì thường thì kênh của mình sẽ lên nội dung của 3 câu chuyện chính là LyTuDiep, lythieuca và lâu lâu thì mình sẽ lên một vài video quản lý hoài ca nữa. Và mình mong rằng mọi người sẽ ủng hộ cho kênh mình nhiều hơn nữa để kênh mình có thêm nhiều lượt xem, cũng như là hãy để lại bình luận đóng góp ở trên kênh của mình. Mọi người ơi, nếu như mà yêu quý kênh mình cũng như là yêu quý các nhân vật thì hãy đăng ký kênh và chuông thông báo lên để không bỏ lỡ bất kỳ video nào mọi người nhé. Bây giờ thì mình đăng tải video lên và mình sẽ cho video này công chiếu vào lúc 7 giờ tối nay.